Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. Today we are going to start off with the individual readings for ATEEZ, and I will start with the leader and then go in each order. So of course, since I'm starting with the leader, this video is going to be about Hongjoong. And for those of you that do not know, an individual reading has 4 different sections, which will be his current energy, his career, his love life, and then any healing messages that have to come through. For those of you that want to skip around the different areas, in the description below I will have the timestamp so you can jump around to whichever area you're specifically more interested in. And if not, I will start with his current energy. So, what is Hongjoong's current energy? Oh, a card just flew out. We have Temperance, the Four of Swords reverse, and the Chariot reverse. I'm kind of curious what's in the bottom of the deck, so we have the Page of Wands. So the first card that came out with Temperance is a very good card to come out. This shows that he is quite patient, he has a very good field, he has a very good idea how to handle his emotions and how to get himself under control. This kind of shows that he may have a long-term goal in mind that he has stayed very loyal to over and has been consistently working towards. One thing that I wanted to point out when I saw the imagery of the Temperance card here was I think it's a cardinal, but this red bird made me think of how when I was going to school, they usually were more visible, I think during the winter, because there's no leaves that they can get behind. And also I think some people believe that if you see a red one specifically, it's good luck. So that makes me think that currently Hongjoong is in the type of energy where he's not impatient or too desperate to achieve a certain goal that he has in mind. He is very grateful for whatever opportunity comes his way. He feels very lucky with where he's at right now, so he's not taking things for granted. Also, Temperance is usually connected to Sagittarius energy. That's why I was talking about having this long-term goal. He seems like right now he's in such a good place with himself that if life ever puts a challenge in front of him, he's not afraid to take that challenge head on and just go for it. He's not afraid to just try new things or take risks. Of course, all of this will be calculated risk. I don't think he's doing anything recklessly. I think he's quite cautious with his way of moving forward. And this Temperance card just shows that currently, since he has a very good head on his shoulders, he's able to make decisions in a very wise way. And it seems like he has a very good balance of dreaming big, but understanding what is in his present moment, and what is within his reality, and what is within his control to achieve whatever goal he has in mind. However, I did mention a sense of luck, so I wonder if he is also quite grateful for the opportunities that he doesn't have control over that still presented themselves to him. So currently it seems like he's in a very grateful, optimistic attitude, and that's a very good card to start off with. Even if he feels like he's in a very good place, the Four of Swords reverse tells me that he has been very, very busy lately, which makes sense. Right now they're touring and they're having a world tour right now. So usually the Four of Swords upright talks about someone that is resting, someone that is relaxing their mind, someone that is in a meditative state, maybe someone that is preparing for action in the sense of trying to keep a cool head, trying to stay calm, and trying to relax before they get back to work. But with this card in reverse, I don't think that he's too nervous about something since we started with Temperance. But I do feel that right now he's so busy that he has not had a lot of time to contemplate. He has not had a lot of time to reflect, and he also hasn't had much time for himself. So he has been in automatic, just doing things, going with the flow, and just getting work done. And I don't think he has had much time to think too much about what he's doing. So I do feel that Everything has been a bit of a blur for him in the present moment because of how busy he has been. And of course, since they're traveling a lot, then I do feel that even if he's enjoying his time and he's enjoying the concerts, I do feel that there's this vibe where he has not been able to take everything in as much. And that's why when he looks back at things, it will seem a bit of a blur. Like, time flew by very quickly, that type of energy. Now, the other card that we have here is the Chariot. So the Chariot is connected usually to Cancer energy. And even though the Chariot is reversed, I didn't feel anything bad. There is this sense of, when the Chariot is upright, it talks about someone that is super confident, someone that is victorious, and someone that has already made a decision of what they want to do in their life, and they're moving towards whatever direction they have decided. And yeah, the Chariot usually talks about movement, like physically going somewhere, or it's just going towards a certain goal or destination of sorts. With that being reversed, it could show someone that hasn't made a decision, someone that's quite indecisive, or someone that is not super confident that their dreams can come true, or someone that feels a bit stagnant. So even if they have a certain goal in mind, they're not moving forward towards that goal because of whatever reason. Now, for him, I do feel that if he feels stagnant, is because he's very busy right now. So he has not had much time for something that he wants to do. Actually, I don't think the Chariot reverse will make much sense unless we look at the Page of Wands. How should I put it? Since we started with that Temperance card, it feels like right now he's in a very, very good place and he's not really going through anything bad that will hint to me why the Chariot is reversed. But if we look at the surrounding cards that are besides the Chariot, it kind of shows that one of the reasons why he has not been able to make a decision or start a new project or something like that is because right now he's very busy with what he's doing right now. But it seems like he's already looking forward doing something new or starting a new project, or he's already getting the creativity for something new. Now with a Page of Wands, usually the Page of Wands talks about someone that is very inspired, someone that is motivated, someone that is super driven and ready to do something new and start a new project. Pages are usually the start of a new chapter, the beginning of a project, or the start of something new. Someone that is about to embark on a new journey. Pages are also describing an individual that is quite experienced in a certain field. And with Wands, we're talking about someone that's action oriented, someone that's super passionate, and someone that is following their desires. I do feel that with him, this project that he wants to work on is something that is in the creative field. However, it came up as a Page of Wands because he can't really take action on it quite yet with a Chariot reverse. But whatever it is, it's something that has sparked a lot of interest within him. And I do feel that he is in the stages of visualizing a project or whatever goal he has in mind. He's visualizing it right now. And the reason why this hasn't really taken off is because he's very busy and he hasn't had much time to think too deeply about whatever he wants to do because he is still in the middle of something else, which within his work. And I think that's why the Chariot reverse is here. Is he hasn't really made a decision of how this project is going to look like or what outlet he's going to use for this creative idea to come out into a tangible physical way. And that's why the Chariot is reversed. It's he just hasn't had much time to make decisions and to think about this new project. But it seems like there's a seed or there's an idea that already being planted within him, and it will eventually become a goal that he will work towards. I want to point out that there was a ladybug there, but I do not know why. I don't know why I wanted to point it out. Who knows? Maybe ladybugs have an important significance for him or symbolize something important. So now that we're done with his current energy, let's jump into his career. So what is going on with Hongjoong's career? Okay, sure. So we have the energy is gaining momentum with a Watson moon. We have disseminating moon with take time to breathe out. And then we have a full moon eclipse with conclusions are within reach. It feels like some people use the moon to manifest. So I do feel that seeing how, okay, because even though I'm using the Moonology Oracle, it usually has, what is it? I think it has 24 cards that are a full moon or a new moon of each zodiac sign. And then it has some other cards that are just like the faces of the moon. So I find it very funny that 3 of his cards are just faces of the moon. So that makes me think of someone that is manifesting. Because I think some people kind of go with like, as the moon is filling up, you do this, and as it becomes a full moon, you do this, and then when it's a new moon, you do this other thing. So like a form of manifestation, right? So I do feel that in his career, one of the things that he's doing is that he's manifesting, he's working towards making those dreams a reality, and he seems to also be just going with the flow as well. So there's a sense of, if he intuitively feels that it's the right time to do something, he does it. Or if he feels like he should hold on to an idea or a thought or an action because it's not quite time yet, he also listens to his gut feeling, basically. But if we look at the cards that came out for him, it feels like in his career, there's something that is about to come into a conclusion with the energies gaining momentum. Like, I don't know if it means like he's about to finish a project in his career, or that a lot of good things are about to come his way and things are just kind of building up. I mean, yeah, good or bad, I think something's building up. With a take time to breathe out, these 2 cards together just makes me think for his career that there might be an abundance of opportunities that are about to enter his life. So he should take advantage of whenever he has a break. Because at one point he's going to be super, super busy trying to take on all of these opportunities that may present themselves to him in his career. Now, with the conclusions are within reach, it makes me think that he's about to either finish a project or he's about to get answers for something that he had petitioned, was a word that came up. So that makes me think that if there was a project that he was kind of tossing out to the company, he's about to get a bit more concrete answers, or maybe even contracts, or maybe even a bit more of an established, these are the people that we can work with, this is the materials and the resources we can offer you for your project. So with conclusions are within reach, it makes me think that if there's something he had been working on for a while, or maybe something that he wants to work on, very soon he will start hearing how he has what's necessary to make that project a reality. So again, he's about to finish a project, or he's about to get concrete answers so that he can get like the green light for him to do whatever it is that he's like he has been working on for in his career. Because the main thing that I'm getting with conclusions are within reach is that he's getting answers. So I don't know if this answers is like finally someone has heard his plans and they're finally like helping him out through that, or that means that he had maybe some questions and doubts about how things were going to be done in his company or in his career, and now he's getting a better idea of how things are going to look or how things are going to work. Or maybe this could be also internal conclusions, like maybe he was debating whether he should do one thing or another thing within his career, and now he has a better idea of which path to take, or maybe he has a better idea of which process to take or which process to go through to accomplish whatever goal he has in mind. Alright, let's take out one more oracle card for his career. We have the Angel of Annihilation. So actually, seeing this card right next to the conclusions are within reach with the full moon eclipse, it makes me think that he is getting rid of energies or thoughts or maybe even people that don't really match his wavelength. So the best way that I can think of is like, if he's trying to make sure that in his career he's working with people that he trusts and that he's working with people that he likes. Now, when I mean like, I'm not necessarily saying that he needs to get along with these people, but he wants to work with people that match whichever vision he has for the work that he's doing. So in his career, this could mean also that he's in his work environment, he's having like a very, respectful and courteous relationship with everyone, but he is trying to also let go of people that, or not be too close to people that he doesn't really vibe with or he doesn't get along with. I guess that's pretty normal in any working environment for anyone. You're not gonna get along with everyone because personalities are different. However, since you all work in the same environment, you kind of just have to deal with each other. But yeah, with this angel of annihilation, it kind of just makes me think that he's just getting rid of things that don't serve him anymore, ideas or limiting beliefs that are holding him back, maybe any fears and doubts that are also holding him back. He's just kind of getting rid of all of that energy that could be baggage, any overthinking that can also hold him back, and trying to kind of just raise his positivity and his gratitude so like that he can stay in this vibe that allows him to just create in a very lighthearted way. So he's just getting rid of unnecessary pressures as well, and he's trying to clear his environment so he's as comfortable as possible within his career. And when I mean comfortable, I'm not saying that he will not take risks, so stay in his comfort zone, as much as I'm saying that he just wants to make sure that he has like a safe space when he's working and have like a place for himself to just think and create and not necessarily be bothered by distractions or by maybe people that don't have the same vision or the same. The word that came out was vigor. So I'm assuming that kind of means like people that have the same motivation and drive to as him to finish a goal. To end up his career, let's just take out a bit of tarot to clear up any energy or any doubts that we have. We have the Five of Wands reverse and the Six of Swords reverse. So with the Five of Wands, it feels like he's trying to get rid of conflict, competition, and arguments. So in his career, he's been... Oh, you know what the words came up? The words that came up to me right now was to shut down the competition or shut up the competition, something like that. So that makes me think that kind of like proving to others that he's good enough, or proving to others that, you know, him and his group is successful. There's a sense of kind of like winning over the competition, or something about proving to others that the group is on the top, or something along those lines. Because the Five of Wands usually talks about conflict, it could talk about arguments, and it usually shows people like fighting each other. So it could even talk about a competitive environment. So with it being reversed, it made me think of kind of like a shutdown, or it made me I thought of League of Legends. Shut down, right? When you finally destroy an enemy that has been undefeated and kind of like on top of the game. So that makes me think that in his career, he has been working very hard to kind of be on his like best form, best shape, and trying to be like on the top of his career, top shape. Is that the word I was looking for? So with the Five of Wands reverse, it just makes me think of like the competition's over. You know what this also makes me think? That maybe there's, you know, he himself may not feel less pressure anymore to show what the group is made of. It's kind of like the group already has a sound and they already have a well-built reputation where he doesn't feel pressure anymore for the group's survival. From now on, is more of like just... I just heard the phrase the stars are your realm, or something like that. So I guess that kind of just shows that at this point the group is in such a good place that whatever accomplishments or achievements they reach and achieve will just come from a place of overabundance, rather than a place of trying to prove something or feeling like there's something that the group is lacking. So it's kind of like leaving the underdog, there you go, leaving the underdog mentality and reaching more of like this successful mindset. So the Five of Wands reverse just kind of shows that in his career, he's leaving behind this limiting belief or this mentality of lacking something and trying to catch up, and now he's establishing more of this mentality that is a bit more about success. And these are the tools at your disposal. Let's just create and welcome in more abundance. So there's a sense of like now he's creating from, instead of a place of need, it's coming from a place of want or desire. It's a bit more lighthearted. So it's just kind of like creating for fun even. That doesn't mean that he doesn't feel pressure, because we have the Six of Swords reversed. So two things with the Six of Swords reversed. Usually the Six of Swords upright is a very positive card. It talks about walking away from a turmoilous. Is that even a word? Walking away from like a difficult situation, and not difficult in like, oh, it's challenging, I give up. More in the, it's very chaotic and conflicting. That kind of vibe. Since we're talking about swords, we're talking about the mind. We're talking about someone that is walking away from a very stressful situation. So with this card being reversed, it tells me that in his career he has found it very difficult to walk away from a certain way of thinking. And seeing how my throat is like clamping up a lot with just talking about the Six of Swords, it makes me think that he may have struggles, like he may struggle a lot with his throat chakra, which usually talks about speaking up or being honest or being truthful about a situation. Well, or just being truthful, like, but I do feel that this doesn't show that he's a dishonest person as much as this shows that he has bottled up something that he should really, at bare minimum, acknowledge for himself. So what I mean by that is, like, usually when we talk about the throat chakra, one of the best ways of healing it is to be, when we say, we, like, the community, the spiritual community, when we say, to speak your truth, it doesn't always necessarily mean that you have to just tell everyone what your business is all about, or when you're talking to someone, you just brutally honest, this is what I think. You don't really have to do that. But what that means is that, sometimes silence speaks volumes, so you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to express your opinion about things, especially if you don't feel welcomed in a certain environment, right? And what I mean by that is, like, if no one asks, you don't have to express how you dislike something. So pick your battles on that one. But one thing that I wanted to say though is that when we say speak your truth in a way of like expressing your throat chakra, is to at least be super honest with yourself. When you think about something and you reflect upon a situation or a way of thinking, being honest with yourself is very, very important. Even if the honest the level of honesty you reached was, I don't feel comfortable addressing this situation for myself, that is a big step. That is still, those are like the stepping stones or the baby steps that get you closer to solving an issue. Yeah, especially when it comes to, like, let's say a limiting belief or addressing a situation or an issue that is quite a big deal for yourself. So for Hongjoong, one of the things that I'm getting, especially because I wanted to point out that, like, my leg fell asleep, so I had to take a bit of a break to allow, like, the numbness to go away. And that made me think, as I was thinking of the Six of Swords, how someone, like, right now in his career, he wants to walk away from an old way of thinking. Something that really bothers him. Or maybe even conflicts from the past and difficulties and challenges that he finds difficult to just leave in the past. Whatever it may be, he's itching to walk away from a situation or to not think the same way anymore and try to embrace a different mentality. So that makes me think of, like, maybe he wants to think less of this lack mentality as we talked about earlier, and maybe that's that type of mentality that he's destroying, and trying to be a bit more and lean towards that very positive, successful way of thinking. Is kind of like just thinking of, like, the cherry on top instead of thinking of all the hard work that it took to get to the top. Something along those lines. But yeah, it definitely feels like there is something that he finds very difficult to express or to talk about to others, but he also doesn't really like to think too much about it because it's so challenging for him. I think it could have been a very difficult and stressful time for him that he doesn't really like to think too much about and reflect on, and because of that he has kept that so bottled in. It could also be like some doubts and fears and worries that he has had for a very long time that he just doesn't really want to address. But I think if he were to, this is basically the shadow work that it will be very beneficial for him to do in his career in order to kind of get rid of all of that baggage that he could still be carrying with him. Yeah, it's kind of like a voice in the back of his head that brings this unnecessary fear for him. So it seems like in his career, he's doing very well, and there's more opportunities that are going to come for him in the group. And if anything, he's just working on getting rid of a lack mentality and trying to enter a bit more of an abundant one. And there's this sense of like now the group and him are working from a place where they're not in constant competition and they're not in survival mode anymore. Now they can create for the fun of it, sure. I mean, it's still their job, but what I mean is like now they can create in a bit more of a comfortable standing instead of a survival one. Now let's jump into his love life to see what is going on with Hongjoong's love life. We have a third quarter moon with adjustments are required. And on the bottom of the deck, we have it's time to release negativity with a full moon in Scorpio. Let's see. Then we have Keter with the crown, spirituality. Such pretty greens. The card looks very pretty. Let's see. So for his love life, it feels like he won't have much mental space for romance and love until he gets rid of whatever baggage he has going on in his career. Because with the full moon in Scorpio with release negativity, or it's time to release negativity, it feels like the negativity that he has is one that kind of stems from his career, but has left a lasting impression within his person. So what I mean is like if he was in a difficult place in his career, it did take a hit on his confidence as a person, and it may have affected his mentality in the sense of like maybe he's a bit too cautious now, or maybe he is a bit too worried and concerned, or maybe he's a little bit too stressed out to think about anything besides his career and his work. So it definitely feels like for his romance, the adjustments that are required for him to be able to kind of like unlock this area of his life. Now I'm saying it that way because I just kind of imagine how, you know how in some games you kind of get like the expansion in that. I'm thinking of like an expansion pack, or like the world all of a sudden like a new area gets unlocked. That's kind of what I visualized. So it just feels like the moment that he finally settles down with his career, and by this I mean whatever baggage or whatever fears and doubts his career may have inflicted in him, the moment he overcomes that and he gets rid of anything that is creating unnecessary negativity within his life, only then will he be able to kind of like step into his love life with like fresh new eyes, or be a bit more comfortable, or being a bit more detached from his career. So it definitely feels like he just needs to do a bit more of shadow work. Because the other thing that I'm going to mention is that Scorpio energy is one that describes transformation, very deep transformations. Scorpio tends to have, or they could, like the energy itself is very good at having like these very drastic changes and transformations because it's ruled by Pluto in Western astrology. And this just kind of shows that all it will take is for him to do a bit more poking here and there within his psyche, was a word that came up, but just to look deep within himself and look everywhere and just kind of poke to see where he crumbles or where he breaks. So like that he can just study why is that the case, And that will be one of the best ways that he will be able to get rid of any unnecessary energy, unnecessary ways of thinking, or any baggage that's holding him back, or any old ways of thinking that just trouble him at the present moment. So that's basically shadow work. Is just kind of like poking at yourself and like dissecting yourself and going in this super reflective, introspective mode of self-understanding, self-knowing, and then healing, basically. So also with the full moon, we're talking about like reaching peak energy on something, and for whatever reason this time I was getting like a sense of enlightenment. So that just makes me think that in his love life, one of the main things that, like, before he can reach any romantic anything, it will be a lot more beneficial for him to practice self-love and for him to gain confidence. Now, I don't necessarily think that he's in a bad place for himself as a person, as much as I think that he's just too busy focused on other areas of his life, that if he were to heal anything that holds him back on those areas, it will do him wonders for his love life. Of course, I do mean in a romantic way. Now, I do want to point out that even though he is older than some of the newer groups I had to work on that usually get this type of message of shadow work, self-improvement, and growth as a person, as an individual, I do feel that with him, one of the reasons why he's getting that similar message, even though he has been on the industry for quite a while and he's older than those people that usually get it, is simply because I do feel there's a lot of unresolved fears and baggage that he has in his career, that if he doesn't straighten that out and work through that, it will get in the way of his love life, because I do feel that his self-esteem could have gotten a bit of a hit, his confidence could have gotten a bit of a hit, and also he's just super focused on his career. So I do feel that in his love life, one of the things that could definitely help him, especially if he were to venture out more in the romantic field, then it will be better for him to work on his fears, his doubts, and things that bothered him in the past. Something about, like, if he has a better understanding of who he is and what he wants, it will be easier for him to venture into the romantic sphere. But let's take out some tarot to finish up this section. So the two cards that came out is the Tower reverse and the Six of Cups. So the first thing that kind of came up is he may have to do some inner child healing, because the Six of Cups does talk about children, and it usually shows like this kid that's giving flowers to this other kid. Is also, to me, that has always talked about like a vow or a promise. So one of the things that he kind of has to work through is doing this inner child healing of finally connecting to something that he has always wanted to do that he may have neglected, or learning how to have fun again, learning to be laid back, learning how to relax a little bit, learning how to just enjoy his time, or getting rid of this perfectionist mentality as well. Because there's some people that as they grow older, since they have been working so much and they have been on like the hustle for so long, they start fearing consequences a bit more, and they stop enjoying the journey and enjoying the process of getting somewhere, also because of this mentality of like, I need to get results, I need to take advantage of this, take advantage of that, and not waste my time, that kind of vibe, right? So this Six of Cups just kind of shows that one of the things that can definitely help him is if he heals his inner child, reconnect to stuff that he wanted to do as a child, or reconnect to the mentality that he had as a kid, so like that he can like nurture his enjoy. It's like, oh, I don't know why I keep thinking about games. It's like if he had an enjoyment bar or a happiness bar, it's quite low at the moment, because he has been so laser focused on his career that he hasn't had much time off or time for him to focus on himself and his growth and development as a person, as an individual. With the Tower reverse, I do feel that he may be avoiding a Tower moment. And in this case, I do mean like how should I put it? His Tower moment, or like this Mars energy, because the Tower is connected to Mars, is like he hasn't given the universe or given himself the green light to destroy a foundation within him in order to rebuild something stronger and something that is stable. There is a sense of like, usually the tower does talk about a series of events or like this domino effect that causes change. But with him, I do feel that he can resist as much as he wants, and the pressure that he will feel is just unsatisfaction and this feeling of wanting to do things differently. And that pressure will cause him to want change. And that change that he will mainly go through is shadow work. So what I'm saying here with the tower reverse is that he hasn't really allowed himself the time and space and needed for his reflection in order to kind of like, he hasn't reached the hermit moment basically, because the hermit in tarot usually talks about someone who's voluntarily going in self-isolation in order to improve as a person and have a better understanding of themselves. So finding some sort of enlightenment. And he hasn't had the time, or he hasn't really put time aside for him to do that. And because of that, he's avoiding his tower moment, which will be the beginning stage or like the first step for him to start his journey on this shadow work that he has to do. But the moment that he gets that started, and one, like, I guess the best advice I can give him as to how he can start that journey is to do his inner child healing. And if he doesn't want to go that far back to his childhood, he can just look back to his past. Even if he were to think back into the recent past and start thinking of things that bother him and things that trigger him. Anything that triggers him will be a step closer to him understanding himself as to why does he, like, whatever he's avoiding is a good place to start when it comes to shadow work. What is he avoiding and why is he avoiding it will give him answers as to what he has to work on. And when he works through that, it will make it easier for him to be able to open up to another energy if he were to pursue someone in a romantic way. Now, to end up his reading, let's go on to the very last section of this video, which will be his healing messages. So what healing messages or what conclusions do we have for Hongjoong? So a chunk of cards came out, so I won't take them because I just want 3. Or a number close to 3. Like I can handle 4. Anyway, so healing messages for Hongjoong. We have the antelope spirit with life is speeding up. So this just makes me think back to the energies getting momentum, what we saw earlier in his career. So it definitely feels like there's something that it's about to enter his life, something that will sweep him off his feet, or something that will kind of catch him off guard. So life is spinning up, like things are happening, things are moving. I do want to point out also with the antelope spirit is that a lot of things could be changing and a lot of things could be moving in the background as well. So even if he doesn't see change happening right in front of his eyes or things manifesting in a tangible way, there's a lot of changes and a lot of things happening that are outside of his control. So what I mean by this is, like, let's say his spiritual team is working on maybe him finding the right opportunities and the right people that will push him towards the right mentality, that is in accordance or in a better alignment to who he is as a person or who he wants to become as a person in the future. So it feels like his spiritual team is kind of already moving the pieces for him to go down that journey, or there's opportunities that they're working on to create for him. And those are the things that are kind of like speeding up that maybe he doesn't see right away or he may not even understand. But his spiritual team is kind of like already writing the script or planning things out to allow this feeling of fate and destiny happening through him. Something along those lines. Yeah. What other healing messages are there for Hongjoong? So a card just flew out. We have Snake Spirit with time to heal. So, I mean, it makes sense. Also, I want to point out that it has a similar color scheme as the antelope spirit. So with the snake spirit, time to heal, that just talks about the shadow work that we talked about earlier. I think snakes can also symbolize a sense of transformation. There is a sense of like shedding old skin or getting rid of the old, bringing in the new. There's a sense of like him, like finally walking away from situations that do not serve him, finally getting rid of mentalities that just held him back and did not help him like just accomplish his goals and his dreams. It's like just getting rid of any energy that is not in alignment with him anymore and that does not match his wavelength anymore as well. So the snake spirit just makes me think that it could be quite a scary process. It could be also a bit tedious, but and it also filled with change and transformation. So it may feel very unfamiliar to him as well, but it will definitely benefit him in the long run because he will always encounter conflict. That's a given. He will always encounter opposition, and it's not like that's just normal. Like it happens to everyone that they will always encounter an obstacle, even if that obstacle is themselves. They will encounter one. But when you do your healing and you do your shadow work, it makes it easier to go through those challenges and those conflicts. Not necessarily because the conflict is smaller or the obstacle is easier, but it's like now you have your biggest support with you, which is you. So sometimes an obstacle can seem a lot bigger than it is simply because our fears and doubts make it seem that way. And other times we feel like we can't overcome an obstacle because our own insecurities get in the way of our ability to take action. So that's kind of what I mean. If he works on his shadow work and his healing, then it will make it easier for him to overcome obstacles because he's become like a different person. So what I'm getting at as well is like if he were to encounter an obstacle today, because of the person that he is today with the knowledge that he carries with him now, he will overcome that obstacle a lot differently than like 5 years ago with the person that he was 5 years ago. I hope that makes sense. Anyways, I just take one last card for his healing messages to wrap up his... Never mind. Let's take out 2 cards to wrap up his reading. Oh, that's actually quite interesting. So we have a buffalo spirit with the abundant universe will provide, and then we have the cow spirit reversed with the miracles are endless. So these 2 cards together feel very significant, first of all. But because the buffalo and the cow feel very similar, like the vibes, the energy feel very similar, this sense of like overbearing or this overwhelming sense of abundance. That's why both of these cards feel very similar. But the abundant universe will provide just kind of shows that he doesn't have to worry about 2 things. He doesn't have to worry that he's stealing opportunities away from other people. Like whatever opportunity was presented to him was meant for him and him only. He doesn't have to worry or fret that his success is the failure of somebody else. Now, it's kind of like when you're in a competition, in order to win first place, the other people lost first place. Does that make sense? So there's this sense of like the universe doesn't really want him to think that, or like make him feel bad for his success or make him feel bad for his accomplishments. It's like he worked hard for that, he deserves it, and it was meant for him. Thus other people have their own journeys and their own lessons to go through. So if they didn't accomplish what he accomplished or they didn't win what he won, is because they have their own journeys, they have their own growth, and they have their own paths to go through. So they like he's not taking away from anyone, basically. Also, with the other thing that I was going to mention as well is like whatever his lack mentality is telling him and causing him to overthink and wait to overthink and worry, he doesn't have to fret about that, because the abundant universe will provide. It kind of shows that if there's a certain goal that he has in mind and he feels like there's a specific path that will get him there, the universe is so abundant that there will always be multiple ways and multiple methods that can help him reach the same spot. So he doesn't have to worry about the journey, because he will eventually, and also he doesn't have to worry about how quickly he gets to wherever he wants. He will eventually reach it. He will eventually accomplish his goals. It's just a matter of time. So he just doesn't have to worry. He will have the knowledge necessary and the tools necessary to accomplish anything that he wants to accomplish. That's the vibe. Now, with the Cow Spirit reverse, with the miracles are endless, the only reason why this card is reversed is not necessarily because he will not experience miracles. It's more like he should think of the impossible and know that it can become a possibility. It's like there's a sense of like there's an infinite ways of doing things, infinite possibilities of accomplishing everything. There is just a sense that everything will turn out well. There is a sense that everything will be okay. There is a sense that he doesn't have to worry that things will eventually pan out. So this Cow Spirit reverse is simply reversed because he's working with this idea that miracles can happen, and he's working through this whole journey of understanding that there is a plenty of abundance for him and everyone around him. He doesn't have to feel guilty for his success. He doesn't have to feel guilty for his good luck, as we saw earlier with his career. It's just part of his destiny. It is part of his fate. It is part of his manifestation. He has nothing to worry about, nothing to feel guilty about, and nothing to be concerned about. Everything will work out. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this reading. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a super long reading. Okay. Back in the day when I started my channel, individual readings were about an hour long sometimes. So there's that. But this time I think there was just a lot that had to be said. I think the longest part for his reading is either his current energy or his career, one of those things. That kind of just shows how much that area of his life matters to him, or like the weight or impact that area of his life has right now for him. But yeah, I hope you guys liked this reading. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you learned from it, or at least found it entertaining. I will see you guys on the next one, whenever that is, however that is. I really do hope that for Hongjoong, he works on his throat chakra. It is in like the smack middle of his reading, so it almost feels like it's like something he definitely has to work on. Either speak up about things that bother him so that they don't become like, so he doesn't like hold that energy in within him, but also so like that he can just be a bit more truthful to himself and is able to acknowledge the things that bother him and the things that hold him back, and also mentalities or limiting beliefs that do not serve him anymore. You know, I do feel that if he gets rid of all that baggage, things will seem a bit easier, or things will flow better for him in the future. That's kind of like the main thing here. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one, whenever that is, however that is. Thank you for all the love and support you have shown me and the channel. Love and healing from my part to you, and